2 minutes?
No, it's on now.
Huh?
You live.
5.
No, you live.
I got 3.
Well, mine.
Alright.
I got about 3. Whatever you say, Mark.
Well, you live now.
At 5:30 or 5. She's one of my deacons. Well, both of these are my deacons. This is done in the auspices of pastoral care. And hospitality, my wife's in charge of hospitality, so they kind of working together as a joint team. We're kind of small, so we team up.
Absolutely.
Are they going to be part of the prop, right?
Yeah, I've got a story to go through this. Yeah, it's
Oh, okay. Long as I am, I might not survive.
It is available at the end for you.
Now, you're welcome to take this food here if you want to take it in, or.
And then we have,
Okay.
and then
And we're gonna give it.
we have some more that's coming back.
Now, what it is we have, the announcement is we're open from 5 to 6. We'll be here to take food if people bring it in. So whatever comes in, that's why we're going to buy. So we'll see what happens. This is the first program I've done this, but normally this is a teaching classroom. So I want to do something a little different. So I have somebody out in the community doing something. Okay, well, we got one.
You on. You on.
Hello, everybody. God bless you. As I announced this earlier this week, that this is something that we're doing a little different. Where normally I'm live at 5, where we have teaching, preaching, and that's a good thing. But what we wanted to do is our church, we realized a tremendous need that there is in the community, and so this is an effort to begin to reach into our community, in which each week, once a month, we'll be interviewing someone out in the community who's doing something that benefits the community, so we can reach our community on behalf of our Lord and Savior. Now, today we have our guest is with us today, and we're interviewing Craig Galler from Virginia Peninsula Food Bank that's located in the city of Hampton, Virginia. Good evening, Craig. Good to see you. Good to have you. Amen. I remember a couple of weeks ago we came and sat and talked to you in your office and how excited you were about coming, and we're definitely excited. This is the community we're in, but what we realized through our live stream that we're reaching far beyond our particular community. So welcome again, Craig, to Live at 5, and let's do this right here. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about what you do at the food bank?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for so much for having me. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to be out in the community telling the story of the food bank. I've been with the food bank for about 10 years, and I started off actually as a volunteer, and I now work in fundraising. I'm the Chief Development Officer, so I raise the money, do the marketing that brings the message out to our community, that brings in the food and the monetary resources that we need to make our mission possible. And I started out actually after college. I went to Washington, D.C., and working in politics in the U.S. Senate for a while, and eventually wanted to come back to Hampton Roads, which is my home. I'm from here.
Wow.
And wanted to come back and kind of take some inventory of what I wanted to do, and started volunteering at the food bank and found that it really touched my heart. And like you said, it is a mission to feed those that are in need, and it's a mission that touches my heart. And every day I go to work, I feel like we're making a difference. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Amen. It's really good to have you, and what we try to do is to partner with organizations that are within our community who are already doing something to impact the community rather than to duplicate things that are already being done. And we are a giver to the food bank, and so we are a big advocate for the food bank. Craig, tell our listeners who may not be familiar with Virginia, your food bank, what services are offered at food bank.
Absolutely, I'd be happy to do that. One of the things you just mentioned was that you all and your organization, your church is a contributor to the food bank and a partner of ours, and that's really the story of the food bank is collaborative partnerships. And when I started working at the food bank, I thought that's not really what we do. What food banks realized years ago, decades ago actually, was that when you empower the community, the organizations, the faith-based organizations, the schools, the businesses, the civic groups, the military, the colleges and universities, they all come to the food bank as community partners, and they take the food from our facility and they go into the neighborhoods and the communities they know the best. And we have over 140 partner agencies in the food bank that come to our warehouse. 140 agencies, yes.
140 agencies.
They don't all come at one day, so that'd be a little bit of a busy traffic day, but they come at different times during the year, during the week, and they get food from our warehouse, and they take that food out to the community where they host local pantries. And so we purchase the food, we get some of the food from the federal government, the USDA, Department of Agriculture. We get some of it through community donations, food drives. We get some grocery stores that we rescue food that would otherwise be wasted.
Wow. So
those grocery stores give us their excess food that's still consumable and ready to eat, but just can't be sold if they have too much. And we also get money through grants to purchase food. We purchase a lot of the food. We work with farmers and regional produce organizations to get us fresh fruits and vegetables. So we have a variety of avenues for bringing that food in. And then those partner agencies are about 70% of the food that goes out through those 140 agencies. And so beyond that, the food bank has some child nutrition programs like our backpack program, where we purchase food to give children over the weekend when they don't have school meals. We have our Kids Cafe program, which gives evening hot meals to students that might not even have a dinner. We have a mobile food pantry program where we take the food bank itself, rather than the agencies, takes food out on our trucks, and we go to community centers, apartment complexes, and we give the food out in a drive-through format. And finally, we have healthcare partnerships where we work with clinics and hospitals to help their patients that are having struggles with medical conditions. And so where food can be a help to get them to feel better and live a healthier lifestyle. So it really is the partner agencies primarily. It's that recognition that we really can't do our work alone. It takes everybody, and that's our primary way, and we have our other programs too.
There was something I heard even when I had come to the food bank, and I was really impressed by it in terms of support. Sometimes you feel like you can't give enough. One of the things that I heard, I think you even mentioned it too, is the amount of money that you donate to the food bank and the number of families. Okay, you share it with our audience.
Absolutely. And we really do maximize every dollar we receive. And because we have access to a lot of really cost-competitive vendors, we can make every donation just multiply. So what we know right now in 2025 is that every dollar donated to the food bank helps provide 3 meals. So
make sure our audience get that. Say that again, real slow.
Yeah, of course. It's every dollar donated to the food bank helps provide 3 meals.
For every dollar, 3 meals.
Yes. So that means even a $10 donation, that's 30 different meals that go out to our community. So we are able to really maximize every donation, and that's why we are proud of the work that we do, and when we are able to take community resources and turn it into meals.
That is really great. That is really great. Now, Craig, for those who might be in need of services and programs at the food bank, how can they access those services?
Yes, that's a really important question, and we are here for everybody. There is no face of food insecurity.
Okay.
There's no typical household of food insecurity. It can impact any household without notice. And what we know, especially right now with costs being higher for basic needs, food prices being higher, more people are coming into our lives. And with cuts to some government programs, it's causing some more people to need food assistance. So what we want people to know is that we're here. And so the best way to access the food bank, if you have access to a computer, is to visit our website at hrfoodbank.org, which is like saying Hampton Roads Food
HR what? Do that again?
hrfoodbank.org. So hrfoodbank.org, yes. And there's a big tab at the top that says Need Food. And that will allow you to put your zip code in and find one of those agencies closest to you that can give you the food support that you need. But we do serve food directly at the food bank. So if someone is in an emergency need, they can come to our building and get a box of food.
Let me ask this question. Now, a lot of our audience are ministers, they're pastors and pastor churches, or they have parachurch ministries. If someone wanted to start supporting the food bank, how would their church or their organization be able to partner with you?
Absolutely, yes. There is a process that takes about 3 to 6 months to become a partner agency. It involves primarily just recognizing that with the space that you have to serve the food, that it can be properly and safely stored. A lot of, as you said, a lot of churches, a lot of faith-based organizations are already doing food pantries, so that is a very smooth and easy process to become a partner agency. But it also involves going to our website, and there's a way to become a partner agency. You get the application, and you just consent to some visits and some trainings on food handling, and we are always taking new partner agencies that can help come and get the food and then also get it to the community.
Now, one of the things, one of my favorite parts is the volunteering. I've had the opportunity to volunteer and actually go out on the site, spend most of the day. It's really a tremendous operation, and what I experienced, the question that I have, maybe our audience would be interested in, if they wanted to volunteer at the food bank, how would they do that?
Yes, absolutely. We have a very robust volunteer program, and I will tell you that last year the volunteers that worked with us in 2024 donated 25,000 hours of service. And if you want to translate that into how much that helps the food bank, that saved us 12 full-time employees. So 12 employees that we did not have to hire and pay because of our generous volunteers. And anybody can volunteer as an individual or as a group, and it involves going to our website or calling the food bank, Virginia Peninsula Food Bank, and speaking to our volunteer coordinator. And we have opportunities both at the warehouse, sorting food, packing boxes, and we also, as you said, have opportunities out in the community actually handing the food out. And it's a very easy process, but it's just about signing up for a time on our website.
Now, last time we also talked, another thing that I was impressed by is, for example, if someone wanted to bring the food bank into their neighborhood, like my neighborhood, and set up, I think you were saying they have to get on the list, how would they actually do that?
Yes, the best thing to do is to make sure that you call the food bank first before you announce any food pantry distributions. Being a partner agency is the easiest route because you're already getting the food and then handing it out. So we do have opportunities, though, to have what we call pop-up pantries, where we come once a month and bring food and bring the
Pop-up pantry.
Pop-up pantries.
How does a pop-up pantry work?
Yes, what we do is we have to identify a need. So we identify a community that's not being served. We have done pop-up pantries with hospitality, hotel workers during the pandemic when there wasn't as much work for restaurants and hospitality workers. We've done them with TSA workers when there were government layoffs and government shutdowns. Okay. So we have to identify a special need. And so you actually mentioned at the beginning something very important, which is avoiding that duplication. So really for the pop-up pantry, it would be the food bank taking a careful look to make sure that we're not stepping on an already existing agency that's there. So if there is an agency already there, then we just help maximize the agency and give them more food. But if there's not, that's actually something we want to do, is get into that community and serve it. So we're always looking for that kind of insight.
Well, Craig, I see a nice, juicy apple on the table, and you said you had a story about it, so I want to give you the opportunity to share about that apple.
Yes, this apple comes with me. I am an apple eater, but this apple reminds me about year 2 into my time at the food bank. I went to one of our mobile pantries in Hampton, and there was a woman named Sarah that was going through the line, and there was a bag of apples that we were getting out of the pantry, and she stopped and stared at the bag of apples. And I walked over to her and I said, Miss Sarah, I said, you certainly are not obligated to take the apples if you don't want them. I said, but we do have fresh apples here if you want them. And she said, when I look at those apples, it reminds me of my childhood. She said, because I remember that I used to eat apples on the steps with my sister growing up, because my mom wouldn't let us come into the house because we would drip the apples juices all over the parking lot. And she said, when I became a mother, she said, my own daughter, went through a phase where she didn't want to talk very much to me. I couldn't do anything right. I didn't have any of the right advice. And she said, we used to eat apples together as a snack. And she would open up to me and tell me a little more about her day. And what it made me realize is that, Dr. Grable, is that food has a meaning. We're not just handing out a bag of apples or, I remember a child looked at a stalk of broccoli, and it was the first time he'd ever seen broccoli in real life, just not in a picture. And it reminds me that food is family. Food has meaning. Food is history. Food is culture. And so it just reminds me, the apples always remind me that the work that we do and that our partners do it's not just about feeding stomachs, but it has a meaning to it, and everybody has a story.
Right. That's great. That's tremendous. Okay, Craig. For those who talk about, what you offer and how to do certain things. Now, the question now is that, and those who might want to support the great work you do at Food Bank, the question is, what ways can they support the Food Bank?
Yes. There are 4 key ways to support the food bank, and we are happy and fulfilled by all 4. One of them is hosting a food drive, so collecting food for the food bank and bringing it to our warehouse. That food goes into immediate use. It doesn't stay on the shelves very long because we always need the food. So food is one way. Funds are another, $1 for every 3 meals for $1. So donating food, donating funds online or collecting the food and collecting the money and delivering it. We can do online or personal giving. The third way is giving your time, volunteering. Also done through the website or just calling the food bank. And then the fourth is a way that we don't often talk about, people don't realize, but it's advocacy. Because recognizing, just sharing the news that right now, an estimated 61,000 people across the peninsula could be classified as food insecure.
Okay, Craig, give me that number again.
61,000.
61,000 people are considered to be food insecure on the peninsula.
Yes, and that's Hampton, Newport News, Pocosa, York County, Williamsburg, James City County, Gloucester, Matthews, and Surrey. So that's the 9 cities and counties, 61,000 people that could have needed. So, a lot of people believe that, well, that they don't recognize that anybody could be food insecure. And remember, hunger is the concept of just, not having enough food. We all have been hungry. We know that it affects us emotionally, physically. But food insecurity takes it to the level of, I don't know where my next meal is coming from. And that's where that 61,000 comes from. They worry, they're anxious, they need the hope. And so just advocating either on Facebook or just saying, maybe I can't donate as much money, but I can encourage my community to donate. We have a young woman who goes around her neighborhood to collect food and funds just from her local neighborhood. And so when her community comes together, she's advocating. She's saying, alone I can't do but so much, but when I can go to my neighbors, I can bring a lot more in. So it's that advocacy, that volunteering, that food and those funds, all 4 ways help the food bank tremendously, and in turn it's helping our neighbors.
Something else we had discussed in a previous conversation too, where we were talking about whether to actually bring food to the food bank, which I think you said we could do.
Yes.
But what you really emphasized was to donate into the food bank because you can get the food at a different, can you explain that a little bit?
Absolutely, yes. We welcome food donations at any time, but with being able to do 3 meals for $1, or the monetary donations do translate to a lot more food just in general. So when you think that the food bank is ordering produce by the truckload, or we're ordering canned goods in bulk, and so we're being able to just really stretch that dollar pretty far. So we would never, food coming in is meaningful to us, but the money does go a little bit farther.
So they go to what's your website they can go to? They can donate on the website.
Yes.
What's that website?
That website, yeah. Think of the word Hampton Roads, with the Virginia Peninsula Food Bank. Think of Hampton Roads being HR and then hrfoodbank.org. hrfoodbank.org. So rather than .com, it's .org.
Okay, good. We had a couple of side questions that came I thought was important. You mentioned it earlier, and that is explain the backpack program.
Yes. The backpack program is one of our signature programs. It specifically works with 1,500 children every week. So 1,500 children being impacted. We purchase and store the food, and volunteers put the food into 1,500 bags each week. And it goes out to 34 elementary schools and pre-K childhood preschool centers across the peninsula, 34 schools. And those children are selected at the school level to receive bags every Friday, those bags. And they get to take those bags home over the weekend so that they can have meals over the weekend when those school breakfasts and lunches that they rely upon are not available. And one of the things we started noticing back in the early 2000s is that children were just running back into the school on Monday because they hadn't eaten over the weekend. And they were just so hungry for that food. And so, as I'm sure everybody can imagine, it's again not just nourishing a stomach, but when you actually feed a child that's in school, you're actually maximizing their ability to learn. Because children that are properly nourished are less likely to be absent, they behave better, and they perform better in the classroom. So that backpack program is actually helping children maximize their education.
Yeah, I served on one of the local school boards, and and I'm intimately aware of that type of situation. Now, if somebody was sitting at home, we have some extra time, how could they actually volunteer to come and help or pack those bags? And so what days of the week would they come to actually help or pack those bags?
Yes, that's a great question because we have all kinds of availability at the food bank. Those backpack bags are packed every Monday through Wednesday during the school year, so we've got some.
Say Wednesday?
On. Yeah, pretty much because we deliver the bags on Thursday and Friday, we have to have them packed by Wednesday. But we actually have packing projects for our mobile pantries, for our produce distributions, for all of our programs. We have those pretty much Monday through Friday at the food bank. So we do have limited opportunities on the weekends, but pretty much if it's between 8 and 4:30, we're doing work at the food bank.
Okay, so if they want to help, they just contact you on the
Yes,
food bank?
we have a calendar on the website, and we also take calls about that. So yeah, we can match anybody's with any skill level, any desire to a program that would fit them. And then, as you mentioned, we have opportunities actually out in the community where people can go to deliver the food directly to our neighbors. So that's every day as well.
Okay, great. So you heard them. This is ministry right here. This is reaching the community. And our effort today is let's go feed some folks. Amen. Let's go feed some folks. And so, Craig, thank you so much for coming today to share this information. And now, one last thing is, Craig, some of our viewers are in New York, North Carolina, Georgia, different states. How would you react if they said they wanted to support?
Yes, regardless, even if you're not in the Hampton Roads Peninsula region, there is undeniably a food bank in your community. And so what we commonly tell people is to say, food banks near me on Google, or to call a social services department and just find your local food bank or food pantry. And I can assure you, just Feeding America alone is a national organization that we're a part of that. They have 200 food banks across the country. So just in Feeding America alone, there's 200 food banks. So pretty much everywhere you go, there is a food bank or a food pantry serving people, and they need the time, they need the money, they need the food as well. So no matter where you are, if it's not near our food bank, there is someone that could use your help.
There you heard it. Either you can support Virginia Peninsula Food Bank, or for those of you in Buffalo and those of you in Detroit area and Atlanta and different areas, you can go to your own food bank there locally and support that food bank, or you can go to Virginia Peninsula Food Bank and donate there. Thank each of you for joining today. This is a kind of a new branch for us to be more visible in reaching and helping our community. And so thank you for joining us today, and we'll be back next week for another edition of Live at 5, going back to the series that we were doing. God bless you, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you, Craig, for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.